So that's one of the other options you have when you have video of somebody talking, right? You could certainly do some jump cutting, some axial cutting to kind of get through that, right? Any questions about that?
Yeah. I have a question, but I just liked how that story was, because you mentioned before, like letting the images tell the story. This one, they let the images and they had the excerpts from those interviews do, instead of opening up and saying Homeboy Industries was created in 2004 to do that. You kind of learned about it through the images and through the commentary of the people involved.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly right. And it's okay to play around. By the way, you know, outside of that basic 4-shot formula, pretty much anything else can go. But learn those basics first. You need to have a base before you can sell cubism, right? And then eventually people start respecting the work and they kind of go with it. The CNN can get away with jump cutting Sir Ken Robinson, right? They're CNN. Because they did it, we did it. You know what I mean? You could have bet garbage and CNN, put it on CNN, and everybody's like, oh, we must do it too, right? And all these editors are getting a big chuckle out of it. So just to kind of wrap up, and I actually sped it up a little bit because I know we were kind of behind, but let's take a look. I know in a classroom that it's very difficult to kind of go, dude, you do that all the time. How am I? You're telling me I need to do cinematic narrative? You know, like when do I have time for that? And I would tell you this, for sure, your kids already do it. They already know about it, they just haven't been pushed in the right direction. For me, in my classroom, that video that we just saw, that was not me. Years ago, I was very much in control my first year of teaching video. I was the script writer. I was like, you stand there, and I was like, getting mad all the time. Just like I did in the business, right? Like that's what we did in the business. Just bark at people and just sit there mad all the time. And but the reality of it is in the classroom, you can walk into my classroom almost any time and my feet are up on my desk and I'm just chilling, watching as kids go crazy, and I become the soundboard because I realize that I am not as good at this as they are. You know, and that I just have to kind of push them in the right direction. And when they show me the tape, I go, hey, by the way, that's a jump cut right there. If you show a video in my class in a jump cut, the entire room yells at you. They go, bah! Like we even have like a noise, like you're just like, rah! You just make a weird noise when a joke. Like we all look for jump cuts. And so the kids now know. And what I've done is I've kind of put this slideshow together for you to start employing some of those things. And do me a favor, get out from behind the camera. If I was you, I wouldn't even touch the red button. Why? Why do you? You know, be interesting to see what kids can do. There's a process that I make my kids go through. It's very similar to what we see in the science classroom. There's 4 stages of production in my class. Typically, there's 3. On the left, just the pre-production, the production, the post, and the evaluation. Pre-production is what you did here. You drew some storyboards, you had a little powwow, you got some advice from some people, you typically write a script. The production, you get outside and you go shoot some stuff, which is what you're going to do in the workshop, right? Then the post-production is the actual editing and applying of music, which is what you'll try to do a little bit today too. But the last thing is the evaluation that we won't necessarily have time for today. In my classroom, you own your video. If you worked on a video together, all 4 of you will stand up right here, and I will ask you 2 questions. What do you want us to know about your video? And what were your struggles? No, actually, that's 3, I guess. What do you want us to know about your video? What was your struggle, and what was your success? We let you front load the video that way. Then we watch it. You stand here while we watch it. If you try to sit down, you can't. You got to stand up. You got to own it, and you boy in front of all of your peers. And then after your video, I say to you, what do you notice about your video now that you've seen it in front of us? And almost always, my audio was too loud. It looks like my lighting was off in that one shot, and they become very kind of stressed about it. And then I don't let them talk, and I open it up to the audience. What did you think?
I love your phrasing when you say that once their baby hits the big screen,
yeah,
it's not as beautiful as they thought it was.
Oh no, yeah. Everybody thinks they have an amazing video until they stand up and they watch it in front of you. Believe me, I know I do the same thing. I thought I had this amazing lecture, and I'm like kind of stressing right now. The other thing is that the evaluation process, and I let everybody do their thing, and then they hear from me. And guess what? You don't want to hear from me. I don't hold your hand, and we don't go walking out in the roses and do a little dance. I let you have it. But if it's great, I let you know it. Because and I always tell them, would you rather have 2,000 people at this school comment on this video, or do you want me to just comment on it? And then I give them a chance to revise, right? It's evaluation. It's ownership. And let me tell you, rarely does a kid step up and have the same mistake twice. It's the process. By the way, if you look on the right side, that's the scientific method. Video production is the scientific method. It's all about that. It's all about learning and working with groups. So if you say, I don't think I have time for that, you should make time for that. You should make time to go through the process, do a lesson, and maybe that's your revision. You know, maybe at the end of your lesson you go, how did we do? Was it a good idea? Yeah, okay, let's make a video about it. And then they'll reinforce that information, right? And I tell you, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of incorporating this kind of stuff into your classroom. And you know, many times when I heard this question earlier, how long does it take? Well, I teach video, and I teach 6-week projects. It's huge. But we know what we do. I have kids do Shakespeare sonnet videos. I ask them in the beginning. I do a Google form, and I'm like, what is your opinion of Shakespeare? Everybody hates it. When I was in high school, if you said Shay, I was asleep. Like, compare? Right? I was out. Because like Shakespeare was like a horrible nightmare to me. And so I thought to myself, with the help of Rushton Hurley, anybody know Rushton Hurley? Rushton Hurley is like, hey, you want to do a Shakespeare thing? I said, sure. He's like, what do you know about Shakespeare? Nothing. I don't even like it. And so we went out and we dissected Shakespeare videos, and we used all sorts of Google tools with that. And truthfully, I do a whole workshop on it, actually. And these kids actually walk out with videos, Shakespeare sonnet videos. But it's modern times. They actually have to say the poem. We use YouTube to look at people's readings of Shakespeare to kind of get beat and that type of iambic pentameter, right? My favorite question, Mr. Sill, do we have to read Shakespeare with a British accent? That's what they always say, because everybody on YouTube has a British accent for some reason. So anyways, we do major projects. We do huge projects like that. And then in most any case, we try to tackle like I'll talk tomorrow about a video project we do for reducing teen pregnancy in our area. We have the second highest teen pregnancy population in the state of California, and so it's a huge issue for us. And so we take a long time to dissect that, right? So, but you can certainly employ some of those things at a smaller level in your classes. The other thing I want to share with you before you do anything is know your audience, right? The audience, it's a lot of people we forget. We forget who our audience is, especially when we go to stick it up on YouTube, we don't even know. And so we need to understand the audience because it's emotional appeal, right? We need to have an emotional appeal. Anything we need to incorporate timeliness into our videos, making sure they're at the right thing, and then we of course need to consider the length. You know, I always say, how do you know your video is good if nobody watches it? You know, while initially it feels like audience appeal is just like an advertising thing, it's really important to understand. It's really important to kind of dissect that with some of your students. Nobody makes a movie with the intention of an audience hating it, with the exception of maybe Twilight, right? We'll kind of practice that stuff in a little bit later. All right, anybody have any questions for me, or anybody want questions about what we're talking about?
Where do we get the link to this?
It's already on the site. This slideshow is already on the site, in addition to a ton more links that I certainly don't have time to explain. Just to reiterate, this is not like film school, right? This is just the beginning of what you're trying to do if you've never really done video in the classroom. Using those 4 shots will make you look great, I'll guarantee it. And then, but in starting to incorporate all that into other things and other shots, you'll really, I think you'll really be impressed with what you see. Cool. Any other questions? Let me show you something. I'll show you a couple of videos. I know we maybe have a couple more minutes. There's these guys. There's a thing called Dream Teacher, right? You guys ever seen this? It's a British thing, right? I don't know. You guys in the back maybe know. They did this. They asked a bunch of people to put together videos, just like we're talking about. But I noticed that these guys kind of employ some of the same techniques.
Where beach material is carried along the beach by waves, but it's a really tricky process to explain and show in a diagram within an exam. This video is going to show you how. So here we are at the end of the exam question. We've got our diagram down, there it is, but what are the actual processes? What's going on at 1, 2, 3? Let's find out. So, as you've just seen from that diagram, longshore drift is the movement of beach material along the beach by wave action.
That microphone kills me. So obviously, but it's obviously very windy. But I love this guy because look where he set himself, on the ground in the beach material, on the left third, right? It's awesome. And then if you look right above his shoulder, you can see this. He talks about the drift, that all this beach material is built up, that wall's there to protect it. And he goes on to describe this whole process. And if we had time, I would have you walk through and kind of talk about what shots he could insert, because he really does go a long way, just jib-jabbing, right? Like if I was him, I would be inserting waves and shots of rocks and maybe rocks falling or something like that. There's another gal that does some really cool stuff here.
Was the lorry shed its load on the road. So that one goes on the top. The next most important factor for me was that the cat ran out in front of the car.
See these
So that
axial
goes
cuts?
And the next level down. I also think that there was another equal reason behind this, and that would be that the car hit the patch of nails because it swerved from the cat. And you work your way down until you have the diamond. Now, it's not enough just for your opinion in a question like this. You have to test your opinion, so I have to try and prove that what I believe is the most important significant factor.
Now that's a tricky move right there, I'm not really sure. I mean, you can overlay any sort of graphics onto almost anything, and then you can kind of use some sort of keyframing to move those things in and out. So it's not like that big of a deal. But what I like about it is that it's on a white background, right? You can certainly get a white piece of paper, a white board, or white wall and shoot that. And then notice she's over on the right third. She can place anything she wants in there. She can put any kind of graphics in there, anything you want. Text can go in there. It's kind of a fun little way of doing that.
On a Mac, it looks like we're safe with that. Keynote, if you do moves in Keynote, the trick is automatically width. You can have a whole bunch of things move all at once.
Yeah.
That's just really low key keyframing.
Yeah, and what's nice is you could even like have video and crop the video because it's all white background. This could be a slideshow over here, some sort of slideshow over here on a white background, and she's on that white background, and all it is layered on top of each other, right? And you can do that very easily in most programs. So anyways, there's a whole bunch of examples. On the site that we created, that you guys I think have access to already, or maybe sometime today, you'll find that I've made YouTube playlists with every video I've shown you, and that you can certainly go off and take a look at those in a whole. Cool. Any other questions for me? Well, thank you guys for not falling asleep. Appreciate it.